We are kicking off WrestleMania week with last week's Raw, as Cody Rhodes was left beaten down and bloodied by The Rock in a gruesome visual and shocking way for the show to end. As seen on The Rock's social media, the beatdown did not stop there, as the final boss whipped Rhodes after the show, and this attack unsurprisingly did a number on the American Nightmare. During a WWE live event in Manchester, Rhodes was able to make it to the show and competed, but sported a bandage on his head, the aftermath of The Rock's brutal attack. Rhodes will be in for the fight of his life at WrestleMania 40, where he'll compete on both nights, and we imagine he'll have some sort of rebuttal for the Great One on tonight's Go Home Raw. Both The Rock and Roman Reigns will be on tonight's episode of Raw to build momentum ahead of WrestleMania, but a different family member has sent a dire warning to the pair. On his new Off the Top podcast, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi spoke about the ongoing bloodline angle and gave some pearls of wisdom to all of those involved. He said, "Don't trust no one. Don't trust nobody. Everybody that's involved in this, don't trust nobody. Roman, Rock, Cody, Seth Rollins, the Usos versus each other, Paul Heyman, don't trust nobody. They're still 1 week away. There could be new players that shows up on Monday. There could be other players that shows up Friday, then into WrestleMania." Betrayal has long been rumored, with some fans believing that when The Rock joined the Bloodline, he did so with the intention to betray Reigns and cost him the Universal title. We'll have to wait and see what happens on tonight's show, but as the final Raw before WrestleMania, expect big things with the biggest WrestleMania of them all just days away. But what do you think of this? Should the Bloodline follow Rikishi's pleas and not trust anyone? Or is the WWE Hall of Famer being paranoid? Let us know down in the comments. At WrestleMania 40, the Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest will have the odds against them when they defend their tag titles in a 6-pack ladder match against formidable teams. DIY, The New Day, Awesome Truth, New Catch Republic, and Grayson Waller and Austin Theory have all qualified, with the final 2 teams being confirmed on last week's Smackdown. The New Catch Republic advanced with a win over Boudreaux and Angel, while Waller and Theory defeated the Street Profits, but this ladder match could undergo a massive change. According to a recent report from Dave Meltzer, Pretty Deadly have now been listed for the ladder match, but the bout could still remain at only 6 teams. It was then reported by Meltzer that Waller and Theory might be removed from the match entirely, as WWE would hold a meeting to discuss their status. With just days before WrestleMania, WWE will have to make an announcement soon if there's a change of plans, and we'll have to see which team walks the aisle in Lincoln Financial Field. As of right now, WrestleMania 40 has officially confirmed 12 matches, but there are expectations of a 13th match to be announced very soon. Dave Meltzer reports that the match will see the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley taking on Karrion Kross and Authors of Pain, and has been billed internally as a Philadelphia street fight. On SmackDown, Kross and Scarlett staged an attack on Lashley and B-Fab backstage, leading to a distraction that caused the Street Profits to lose their ladder match qualifier. Despite the name, a Philly street fight is no different from a regular street fight. It just so happens to be in the city, so don't expect cheesesteaks to replace chairs in the match. The two sides have been feuding for months, and their storyline could reach its climax at WrestleMania. And is this a match you want to see? Let us know in the comments. Recently, WWE confirmed that their WWE Speed Show will begin streaming on April 3rd on Twitter, and the company has been filming matches for the show at Smackdown tapings. The show will feature high-octane 3-minute matches and its own championship title, and now we know more about which superstars will be part of the show. Fightful Select reports that while the matches have been taped at Smackdown shows, Raw talent will be brought in, signifying that the show will not be exclusive to any single brand. Perhaps we could even see NXT superstars thrown into the mix, as these short matches at SmackDown would help the talent get a feel for competing in front of a main roster crowd. There's currently still a lot unknown about WWE Speed, but we should get answers very soon, as the company hopes their new show of high-octane action is a hit on social media. In AEW, Parker Boudreaux's role within the company has somewhat been limited, partly due to an injury sidelining him for an extended period. His most recent bout occurred during the March 3rd, 2023 Rampage taping, where he partnered with Swerve Strickland, albeit ending in defeat against Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes. It's been over a year since he was last seen as a member of the Mogul Embassy, but he's still with AEW, as Fightful Select reports he has at least months left on his deal. On March 16th, during a AAA event, Boudreaux made waves with a notable debut, instigating an attack on Octagon Jr. and Mecha Wolf, but the attack was cut short by El Macias. Ringside News would report that Boudreaux was present at the recent AEW Homecoming show, but he wasn't shown on screen, and there's no word on when he'll be back on TV. In the meantime, Boudreaux can keep himself busy as part of AAA, and perhaps he'll have better luck being used in the Mexican promotion. What are your thoughts on Parker Boudreaux's absence in AEW? Should the company look to use him more? Share your views in the comments below. As we reported yesterday, the tag match pitting Ricky Starks and Big Bill against Top Flight did not go according to plan after Starks seemingly suffered an injury and did not kick out when pinned. This gave Top Flight the win, even though Starks and Bill were supposed to advance in the tag title tournament, and now we know more about what happened at AEW Collision. Twitter user Air Gold, a source who's been accurate in the past, reported that Starks was shaken up by a Pele kick in the corner and was well protected by Darius Martin. Martin was the one who made the call to quickly go to the finish and told the referee to count to 3, even though this wasn't supposed to be the end of the match. It was certainly a wise move from Martin to hurry up to the finish after seeing Starks was shaken up, and on Instagram, Starks said he was all good now and everything checked out fine. Starks said that folks were being precautious regarding his injury, and while AEW has now had to change plans, it's good that Starks was protected as his health came above anything else. Now, Tony Schiavone has been a key figure of AEW from the start, which is why it was strange last Saturday when fans learned he would be missing AEW Collision. Schiavone was replaced on the show by Ian Riccaboni, but as Dave Meltzer explained on Wrestling Observer Radio, this was not a permanent move. Schiavone was missing from the show as his beloved dog Buggity had passed away, and it was clearly a deep and personal loss for the veteran broadcaster. Despite this difficult situation, Schiavone still showed up to Collision, but it was ultimately decided for Riccaboni to replace him on the night. Schiavone should be expected back soon, as this move was not permanent, and we're sending our best to Tony on the loss of his beloved dog. It's been over half a year since fans last saw Sheamus on WWE TV, as the Celtic Warrior continues to be missing due to a difficult shoulder injury. Amidst his WWE hiatus, the Celtic Warrior took to his Instagram and uploaded a few photos of himself at a recent soccer game featuring the Nashville SC. Sheamus didn't go to the game alone, as he was joined by AEW star Miro, and Sheamus also attended with his wife Isabella Revilla, and Nashville tied 2-2 against Columbus Crew. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Sheamus returns, as the Brawling Brutes are no more, and the Great White is still yet to win the Intercontinental title and finish the Grand Slam. Sheamus's contract with WWE is also set to expire next year, and while there's a lot of decisions to be made, the superstar was at least able to enjoy some soccer this past weekend. Now, the last time fans saw Jack Perry in an AEW ring, it was at All In 2023, as his backstage fight with CM Punk has kept him suspended from the company for over half a year now. In January, Perry tore up an AEW contract while appearing at New Japan's Battle in the Valley and has dubbed himself a scapegoat in an unsubtle shot at Tony Khan. It seems Perry isn't the only one who thinks he's been unfairly treated, as during the most recent AEW Collision in Hamilton, Ontario, a fan held up a sign reading "Free Jack Perry." That may be easier said than done, as recent reports state that Tony Khan is still mad over what happened at All In and blames Jack for essentially costing his company CM Punk. Despite this, Perry is still under contract with AEW despite his Battle in the Valley act, and it remains to be seen when we'll see him freed of his ongoing suspension. This Friday, Paul Heyman will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, an honor that the special counsel to Roman Reigns has turned down before in the past. Many believe Heyman said yes this year because of his ties to Philadelphia via ECW, but that's just part of his reasoning, as he told GSM Matthews of WrestleRant. Heyman said that he was surprised to be asked this year and had turned down the offer in the past, as he previously didn't want to go in while working actively for WWE. That doesn't mean Heyman plans on retiring, and on the contrary, his goal now is to make people regret inducting him this year by doing so much huge stuff after his induction speech. The ECW magnate said that Philadelphia did play a large role in his decision to be inducted, but so did his kids, who have been nagging him for years to accept the honor. Heyman then explained that he wanted to do right by Triple H, as this will be the first year the game has had full control over the class of Hall of Fame inductees. It would be a terrible disservice to Paul Levesque. It would be a grotesque demonstration of disrespect to Paul Levesque if I were to have turned that down. Out of respect and admiration for the job that he's done and for the man himself, I'm honored to be inducted this year, plus it's in Philly. Plus, it's WrestleMania 40, and plus, for once, it gives me something that shuts my damn kids up. With success as a promoter, writer, manager, and more roles to his name, Heyman is deserving of the induction, and fans won't have to wait long to see Paulie enter the Hall of Fame. But what do you make of this story? Do you think Heyman should have accepted the induction sooner, or is it the right year? Sound off down in the comments. And we're ending with Dennis Knight, who worked for WWE for years as Phineas I. Godwin and Midian, but recently, the ex-superstar was involved in a very serious medical situation. Taking to social media, Knight explained how he recently nearly lost his life after a medical issue left him hospitalized for 8 days, with 2 of those days spent in the ICU. Knight explained that things started with a bowel obstruction and things got worse as surgeons found a shredded appendix and a hernia the size of a golf ball. His blood sugar was over 700, well beyond the standard of 90 to 120 it should have been, and thankfully the situation was able to be dealt with and Knight made it through the week. Knight said he thought he'd meet his end in a car accident or ODing, but instead it was his body that nearly did him in, and we're sending our best wishes to Knight after this scary ordeal.